Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a special edition of the JP Peterson Show here. There we are. As we have the breaking news that the Rays have decided where they're going to play for the upcoming season in 2025, and it is, drumroll please, Tampa. The Rays are moving to Tampa, sort of, at least in the interim. This is all happening as we speak. This news came down from Mark Topkin about 11:45 when we were doing our other show. So it's all fresh and we're going through it. So here's what we know now. The Tampa Bay Rays have decided to play their home games for 2025 in Steinbrenner Field. There's already been reaction from the politicians around the area. By the way, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports here is monitoring Twitter right now with all the responses that we will get to here. But here's the nuts and bolts. The Rays are going to play in Steinbrenner Field, which is the largest, over 11,000 capacity minor league stadium in the area. Beyond that, we do not know. The Yankees will make $15 million, you told me? Yeah. $15 million in additional revenue. I'm not sure exactly what the Tampa Tarpons will do. By the way, if you're wondering, on average, the Tarpons have 6.5 rainouts per year, postponements per year in terms of rainouts, which in an 81-game season is not that much. So obviously you have to deal with the heat, but this is, I think, the best possible solution. So here's where some of the repercussions are right now. Now, the Pinellas County Commission has a vote coming up that can that will approve the bonding for their portion of the stadium. Without that money, that $312 million approximately, the new stadium does not go through. And that vote has been pushed back because of the hurricanes and everything else. So the two new commissioners are coming in, Chris Latvilla being one of them. He is in the Mark Topkin piece in the Times, is quoted as saying, let me see if I can get to it here. As Topkin writes, said Commissioner Chris Latvilla Thursday at County Workshop, I'm not going to say if you play in Dunedin or you play in Clearwater that I'm a yes, but if they play in Hillsborough, I'm a no. So, they can do the math how they want to do the math. So what this means is what was a 5-2 vote now with the two new commissioners coming in, who, by the way, the Rays campaigned against, spent $150,000 to defeat. They won. So that and they had said during their campaign that they would not vote for this new stadium. And with these developments, as Latvilla said, they were trying to hold the Rays hostage to play in Clearwater, which clearly would not have been as good a choice for Rays fans. He said he's a no. Whether there's another no, that will be the deciding vote. If that is a no, and I think it will be a no, then this is 4-3 against. The bonds don't pass from the Pinellas side, and the new stadium is dead. New stadium is dead if that happens. And I think the Rays know that. They certainly knew that before they chose Hillsborough County. It is my opinion that this means the stadium is not going forward. And I think that's a great thing, quite frankly. I think the city of city of St. Pete and Pinellas County, given the amount of damage that has been done from the hurricanes, can see quite clearly that the real cost to the taxpayers, a cost of over $2 billion after interest, lack of local real estate taxes being collected in this agreement that would have built this new stadium. That's the real cost to taxpayers, not $700 million that you read a lot. With interest and all the other things, it adds up to at least $2 billion. And that's over 30 years. And that's money that this city and county really can't spend right now, given what's happened to all the wreckage and the damage that needs to be repaired, and priorities in Pinellas County and the city of St. Petersburg. So to me, what this signals is the Rays know that vote in the county is not going to go their way. And the best place for them to play is Steinbrenner. And I also believe that this decision was not made by the Rays primarily. I think Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association were the ones who made this decision. And I think that's because the players do not want to play in Clearwater. They want to play in a much bigger and more major league ready facility in Tampa. It's the middle of the market. I think Major League Baseball wants them to play in the middle of the market. They want this to be a huge success in outdoor baseball. I think is a wonderful thing. Let me smell the grass as we can play Rays baseball. I think this is as good a development that could possibly happen. In my opinion, this leads to the defeat of the new stadium plan. I think it reopens the possibilities in Tampa. I texted with Ken Hagan yesterday, who's been the point person for Tampa baseball all along. And he said, I'll keep saying the same thing, is if it doesn't work out, we are open for business in Hillsborough County. Now, we can debate what that looks like, how it comes to bear, but I can tell you this, and being part of the Rays 100 back in 2018 when that deal in Ybor City was, quote, done, and Stu Sternberg backed out because he didn't want to pay for half the stadium, which would have been a lot less than it is now. That stadium would have been done, would have been playing in there. Trop would have been demolished. I think this comes back to Tampa, where there is a public-private partnership available. The Rays have always wanted to get as much money as they possibly can. They came back to the Sports Authority and said, how much are you going to put in? That's all they wanted to know. And basically the retort was, look, we will partner with you. We're not going to write you a blank check like St. Pete basically did. And that's where we stand right now. So they're playing in Tampa. Now it's up to the folks of Tampa to put out the support to do it and fill that stadium. And I'm just going to predict this. When these season tickets go on sale, they will sell out in minutes. Absolutely minutes. They'll probably get that stadium up to about 15,000. It has 13 luxury boxes that actually point towards the field of play, unlike Tropicana Field. They have great facilities. They've got great amenities. There's a whole right field porch with cabanas and a tiki bar out there. They have premium seating. Everything about this, I think, is a positive for the Rays. I love it. I love that the Rays are coming to Tampa. They're going to play in front of full houses. The energy for this team will continue and momentum will go forward. The fans will coalesce around this in Tampa. It's a positive. No one will be bitching about Clearwater or Dunedin. It opens it up, I think, for another chance for Tampa to step up and get this done. I've told you it's not been Tampa and Hillsborough's fault. The impediment has always been Stu Sternberg. I think it opens up for a sale of the team, which there have been offers on the table and continue to be. So I think in the end, this is a huge plus for Rays fans in general, 75-80% of which wanted the stadium to be in Tampa. So let's see, and I know they will, step up and fill this place. Your thoughts, Nick Geddes?
Well, first of all, it's great that they're going to be playing in the Tampa Bay area and not the other alternatives, which we're playing in, the worldwide sports or some of those other things.
Terrible idea.
It's great for the fans. It's great for the players. It's great for the players that they don't have to move themselves and their families and go somewhere different. They get to play home games at home, stay in their own houses, apartments, whatever. All that's great. As for why the Rays chose Steinbrenner, they put it out in a statement. Steinbrenner Field was selected as the Rays' temporary regular season home because it is the best prepared facility in the Tampa Bay region to host regular season Major League Baseball games. Steinbrenner Field was already undergoing renovations to improve its clubhouse and playing facilities. Recent projects include upgraded field lighting, expanded home locker room space, improved training and rehabilitation capabilities, largest spring training stadium in the region with a capacity of approximately 11,000 patrons. So,
yeah, and I spoke to the folks over at the TSA a couple weeks ago and asked them, I said, what is the viability of Steinbrenner Field? Stuff that we talk about on the JP Peterson show every day. And it told me it's doable. It's very, very doable. It's not easy, but it's doable. And to me, that immediately told me that this is where they're going to play, because I think Major League Baseball knows that's where they wanted to. They talked about Orlando. I know there was pushback from the Players Association on that. They didn't want to move the players didn't want to move their families, didn't want to have to go through all that. So I think Orlando was quickly out. And then there became this power play between the county, who basically county commissioner said, look, if you guys go play in Tampa, we're not going to vote for this new stadium. And that's why I think this new stadium is going to be killed by the county vote. And again, I think it's, and this keeps the city of St. Pete from making the horrible decision to repair the Trop, spend $50-60 million on that, and then blow it up in 2 or 3 years while you go spend another $2 billion of public money on a new stadium. It's insanity.
Well, it's important to keep in mind too with the deal in Pinellas. I mean, it's not just the Trop that they were going to be building, right? Okay,
Right.
there are going to be a lot of other things that were going to be built there, a lot of redevelopment that was going to help that entire area out. So, and the Trop was sort of like the linchpin for that whole thing,
Right.
Okay, so let me say this: anybody that's listened to this show over the years that I've been on knows that I'm a Tampa resident. You can call it Tampa Bay all you want, but I was born in Tampa. Okay. I am very in tune with the history of baseball in this side of the Bay. Okay. And I've always believed that Tampa was the best spot. I always will say that. But that being said, I sort of came around to the idea that Tampa seemed almost unlikely as the years went on. And St. Pete, obviously, they came with a plan, and the Rays partnered with the Hines Group and everything that Ken Welch was doing there, and they came up with that plan, and it looked like we were almost about to get over the finish line, and then a hurricane comes. And it's amazing the trickle-down effect that has had over the last month and where we stand today. And the fascinating part of this is the Rays are playing, and you're going to play in Tampa on this side of the bridge in 2025, knowing that there are county commissioners who have been very public and said it today, obviously, after this statement came out, that they will not vote yes for the bonds if the Rays go through with this. And obviously it's happening. So for the Rays to take that risk and to make that bet, I find very interesting. Okay. Because
I agree.
I find that very, very interesting. But to all the people, including myself, that have said that I believe Tampa would work more ideally than St. Pete, well, guess what? You're up. You're up. There's no more excuses now, JP.
Nope.
There are no more excuses for Tampa fans and Rays fans anymore who are on this side of the bridge to not go to the games. It's in a great spot. They're on Del Mabry. You got 81 home games throughout the rest of the entire year on an outside facility, probably the best spring training facility you're going to find in the entire country.
Absolutely.
It's
a major league ballpark.
It's time to step up to the plate. If that place is not packed every single night to the brim, then I'll shut up. I'll shut up and I'll come out and tell you, well, I guess I was wrong. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I have a lot of faith in Rays fans that they're going to show up and they're going to be excited about this. Even the novelty of it, the novelty alone of it, I think is going to bring people out.
Hell yes.
I mean, you're going to see Major League Baseball outdoors in this market for the first time ever. There are so many great things about it, but you got to go to the games. You have to go.
I'm laughing at you, bro.
There should be no more complaining.
Do you know how fast these season tickets are going to sell out? Unless they just price them ridiculously, which would be so on brand.
Well, we don't know how that's
13 luxury boxes are already gone. They're already gone. ReliaQuest, I mean, it's already gone. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. And look, the Rays are going to make more revenue. I will predict they averaged 16,000 last year. Averaged 16,000 at the Trop. They, depending on how many seats they can build, temporary seats, and I think there's seats that you can add down the left field line, maybe in the outfield as well. I think there's all kinds of things you can do, but it's this park has great bones. I think it's going to be a tremendous success on every level. And as far as the future of the Rays goes, I think it's interesting in Topkin's article to hear what Mayor Ken Welch is saying. And this is after you consider that the county has their own vote. And to me, the math I'm doing, it looks like that's going to be a no. And that's coming up either tomorrow. They may delay it, I'm guessing, but we'll see. The mayor says, he said, Welch, determined to get the Rays back to a repaired Trop in 2026, said he remains optimistic they could work with the county to keep the new stadium deal intact. Quote, we're going to have that conversation about the long-term value of the deal with the Rays and see where it goes from there. I still have faith that the 30-year deal makes sense for the county and the city. I think the right economic decision will win out, and we will talk it through. End of the day, we got a lot of priorities in the city. The deal that we put together, just refreshed. Sorry, that was the money quote. He said the deal. Sorry, I just lost it. Sorry, he said the deal that we put together still makes sense. I see many paths to make it work. He said if we had a perfect world, they'd be in the Trop, but we don't have that. So they have to work that out. My goal is to have the Trop prepared and have them back in 26 where they need to be in St. Pete. So seriously, you're going to spend $50, $60 million to repair the Trop, to just blow it up and then spend another $711 million with interest and infrastructure to the city, $587 million with interest to the county, $411 million in lost real estate taxes. I mean, I can go on and on. The cost to the city and the county is about $1.7 billion. And the turnaround on this is if you say, no, we're not going to go through with the deal, it's not like the Trop doesn't get redeveloped. They have a plan. Kreisman's deal to redevelop it without a stadium was unbelievably beneficial to the city of Tampa. More jobs, more long-term jobs, better development, a convention center, city of St. Pete, to a convention center, a residential. St. Pete does not need a baseball stadium for that area to thrive. It's a real estate hotbed. They're selling 1 acre in that area for $20 million one sold. And now you've got a blank canvas of 82 acres that you can build something downtown that really, really brings heads and beds and benefits the city and the county and pays you back, where the developers come in and pay for this. So they'll pay for the construction. You're not shelling out money. You're receiving money. I did this yesterday on the show with our boards. It's a net gain to the city of Tampa, or the city of St. Pete and Pinellas County, of $2.4 billion. Instead of spending to 1.7, you're probably going to bring in $1 billion. So it's, for the citizens, especially after the hurricanes, I think it's a no-brainer to not do this deal. And I think the Rays will find a home in Tampa. I really do. I think that's very much and people can say, well, Tampa doesn't have any money. That's not true. Michael LaRue asked me here. He says, how much money can Tampa Hillsborough County throw in? Can it be a 50-50 public-private partnership? Well, unfortunately, unlike 2018, prices have gone up. So I can say this, and Ken has said this to me, there's probably $300 million to $325 million that the county could put in. But this is a pay-as-you-go thing, money that is returned to the county and the city that benefits everyone. You're probably going to need a third from the team and then a third from private money, a private developer that'll come in and reap the benefits of the battery around it, the bars and restaurants around it. And of course, there have been developers that have stepped up and said they wanted to do this, but a lot of that land is gone now. So the next best may be at the fairgrounds, where you can get a lot. There could be a lot involved in that with the Hard Rock and the Seminole Indian Tribe, who would be more than willing to expend a lot of money to build an entertainment district with a baseball field there, and other ancillary things that could go on. I think it just makes a tremendous sense on so many levels.
Well, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves with that. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves with that. We have to take this.
Yep.
We have to take this one step at a time. Let's see how this goes. I would call this a test run, a trial run. We don't know. We realistically don't know if Tampa is still an option. We really don't know. Okay.
It's still, according to Ken Hagan, it's still an option.
Perhaps. But to me, it's going to take.
I have the text. You want to see it?
It's going to take, though, Stu Sternberg. How much is he willing to?
I don't think he'll be involved
to play ball.
If there's a stadium built in Tampa, I don't think he'll be involved.
Yeah, but we got it. We still, that's still very TBD at this moment, as is the future of the stadium deal in Pinellas, which is unfortunate because I think we were just sort of ready for this whole saga to be over with at this moment, and it's opened back up. But for the immediate future, the fact that they're going to be playing in this region in 2025, that's the thing that I'm focusing on. And like I said, let's see how this goes. Let's see if this place is packed to the brim every night. If it's not, then the Rays are probably going to be like, see, it's not all sunshine and rainbows over here either. And so that's gonna be a telltale of what I think.
You really think they're not going to pack the park?
I think they will.
Okay,
but I can't say that with 100% confidence. Is all I'm saying.
Well,
there's no absolutes in it.
You have that same offense you had this year. Maybe not.
Well, that's the next thing. We now know we're playing. Can we get a catcher? Can we get a shortstop? Can we get?
Well, you said you heard Eric Neander say on DAE that if they do play outside, it might be easier to attract free agents.
I don't know if it was on DAE. I think it might. I thought I was listening to Rick Stroud's podcast. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it wrong, but I could have swore he.
Well, we want to give credit wherever it might be.
Yeah, I had heard it on Rick Stroud's podcast, and it might have been in a Times article where Neander was. I think he might have said something like it might be easier to attract free agents and stuff like that, especially hitters. So we'll see where that takes them. That's the other part of this is the uncertainty of where you're playing. I mean, we're going to get dangerously close to winter meetings here. And the Rays needed to know where they were playing before they get to the table there. Now, are the Rays ever super active in free agency? No. Do I expect them to be super active in free agency this year? Probably not. That's just the nature of the team. We know that. In fact, I read Jeff Passan's article yesterday, which was his layout for free agency in the trade market. He actually mentioned in his ESPN article, Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz are expected to be at least shopped. And they'll see what the value is on those two guys. They picked up Brandon Lau's option, exercised it for $10.5 million, but he's no guarantee clearly to be on the team next year. The same thing goes with Yandy Diaz. So a lot of questions to be answered from an on-field standpoint, but the off-field standpoint needed to come first.
Well, right now the Rays have a $45 million payroll moving into next year, approximately. $45 million. That's a joke. I don't know if that included Lau's salary or not. So maybe that takes it to $55 million.
Let me go to Spot Track here and get the final.
So, and by the way, so in case you don't know,
current payroll allocations is at 50 million. It says projected is 82.
Okay. So there's still, the average payroll, if you don't know, is about 150, 160 million in baseball. So they're well below that and always are. Now they have money? Yes, they have money. According to the lawsuit, sworn testimony by the partners that Stu Sternberg had $500 million of raised money moved into another company as part of the problem with the lawsuit. There was a settlement in that lawsuit. Obviously everything's not disclosed, so we don't know what the settlement was. I can guarantee it was a big number in order for those folks to settle, because they told me many times they weren't going to settle. So that was a big number. There's money there, no question about it. Now the Rays just had to do a new TV deal where their TV money is going to go down. Probably, by some estimates, I saw an article where the Cardinals had to do the same thing and they lost about 25% of the revenue, but they could recoup some of that revenue by going out and selling some of that commercial time themselves. So listen, and I think with a packed ballpark, it makes for much better TV. That's for damn sure. An outside ballpark as opposed to the Trop makes for much better TV. That's for damn sure. I think there's so many levels of all the options. This to me was clearly the best one. And the fact that the Rays took it tells me that they believe they're going to lose the vote in Pinellas County anyway. I think MLB probably had a lot to do with this as well. Ray Kennedy says, by the way, get some of the, if you can, let's read some of the stuff that's out there on Twitter from all the folks. Ray Kennedy says, I call it, read the history of the development of the stadium in St. Petersburg. It's the $1 billion the owner gets for development of Tropicana Field that keeps MLB in Pinellas County, not a hurricane. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but he also adds, who the hell buys the team and walks away from $6 billion development at gas plant? Maybe Daniel Snyder buys them. He is all ego and not looking at the bottom line. So a new owner that wouldn't want to do that development, well, the new owner taking over this team, the people that I've talked to do not want to build in St. Petersburg. Long term, they'll make way more money in Hillsborough County. That's where MLB wants them to be. And again, this is not just a decision for Stu Sternberg. It's a decision for MLB, and that Players Association as well have to be on board. So that's all looking forward. But for at least this year, playing in Tampa, I think is going to be a huge boon for this team.
And the other thing too to the future of the stadium deal in St. Pete right now, because we've been mentioning the new commissioners that came in seem to be opposed to this whole thing, and Chris Latvala is the guy who's been the most outspoken. Okay, remember in that article that came out last week, he had I almost wonder if this is politicians being politicians, which I don't trust a single politician.
That's smart.
I don't. And you know that. Hate
smart.
Politics.
That's smart.
He was quoted, or not quoted, but it was written in that article Coincidentally or not, Latvala and his family have had friendly relations with the Philadelphia Phillies, who have been seeking money from the county commission to renovate the same ballpark.
A lot of money
/ facilities Latvala says would be perfect for the Rays. So it almost has come off like this guy has a clear agenda and he's a politician and they're going to do whatever, in the best interest of, they'll say their constituents, but it's basically just to continue to get reelected. Right.
Right.
He seems
like he's protecting Pinellas counties, which is what he's elected to do. I get that.
All I'm going to say is this: you can have the opinion that you don't think the stadium should go up. My counter to that is the reason why that now is in peril. To me, is BS. I think it's absolute BS from some of these county commissioners and the way they are acting and the way they try to threaten the Rays to play in Pinellas, or we're going to blow up everything we've been working on for the past 3+ years. That, to me, is bad faith.
Well, I also think that the Hurricanes changed the dynamic.
I understand
There's no question about it.
I understand the Hurricanes have changed the dynamic, but again, it's more than just a baseball stadium that was going up there. And you've been telling me all these time how great everything is going to be.
It's going to be built anyway, and it'll be built better. So it's not like you're not going to develop Tropicana Field. No, it's going to get developed in the right way. Not governed by politics and a bad baseball decision. And, you can talk to Rick Kreisman. Go look at the Kreisman model that they built and had passed without a baseball stadium. He went through all this with the Rays. He knew they didn't want to be there, and he wasn't going to write them a blank check. He was doing a responsible deal. And had that gone through, then they'd probably be building in Tampa right now. So, look, I still believe that this is the best thing for Pinellas and the city of St. Petersburg, and playing in Clearwater, Dunedin was not an option for the players in Major League Baseball. They were not going to do that. So trying to hold them hostage, I think, was not the best idea either. And the reason there's a problem here with it is because it's such a bad idea to begin with. And it was forced through, in my opinion, with political pressure and Lord knows what else. Giving away $500, $600, $700 million of real estate, whatever you want to put on the price tag of that $66 million that the Trop's not going to sit on, or the new stadium for $50 million, is a boondoggle. There's no other way to put it. And the only way the Rays were ever coming back to St. Pete, which they said many, many times that it wasn't a major league city. We can't build here. We can't thrive here. The only reason they came back to it is because they were given basically a blank check to build a stadium. Your part's going to be $700 million. Oh, by the way, we're going to give you $700 million worth of real estate for $50 million. Basically, there's no cost to the Rays to build a new stadium. That's the only reason they came back, in my opinion. Very basic level, look at the numbers. So I think it's great for baseball. I think it's great for Tampa. And yeah, it's time for Tampa to step up. What's some of the other reaction that you've seen?
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people that are pretty relieved that this thing has been. I actually was going to pull up. Let me go back to it, because I think the other side of this is people are already making comments about, it's going to suck to play. It's going to suck to sit out there outside during the summer months and the humidity and all that kind of stuff. Be aware that the Bucks do this in September and October. It's not fun.
No,
but we do it. But
that's at 1 o'clock.
But I
7 o'clock's much better.
I thought this was interesting. Paul Delgado let out a long thread of some of his thoughts on here, and obviously he's the best weatherman in the area, as we know, or at least one of them. And he put
in your opinion,
he's
I love Paul, but I love Dennis too.
That's why I still
love Steve Jervy.
That's why I just corrected. That's why I just corrected and said one of them. One of them. Okay, but anyway. I thought he was good to go to with the questions about the weather, and he points out that the Rangers dealt with the brutal Texas heat for years before moving inside. The climate in Atlanta features plenty of heat, humidity, thunderstorms. He says April and May is pretty decent here, and there'll be some great weather days earlier in the season. He said, of course, there will be rainouts, but probably not as many as we're thinking. Biggest obstacle will be rain delays and waiting for evening thunderstorms to move on. So, and then he made the point as well about the 1 p.m. Bucks kickoffs in September and October and how that works. So thought that was interesting because I think everybody's focusing on the weather impacts of this, and it might not be as bad as we think. And obviously Miami too played outside for years.
Many years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the alternative was to play in Orlando, which would have been horrible for Tampa Bay fans. I think that was a bad idea from the very beginning. And I do think Michael LaRue says the players hate the trop turf. Playing on grass will be better for attracting free agents. Plus, Steinbrenner Field is a better hitter's ballpark. Totally agree with all that. Great sight lines. And again, it's going to be tough logistically to get that many people in, especially if you increase the seating. So parking is not going to be perfect. Traffic shouldn't be bad because the Bucks put 65,000.
There's already going to be some fun things that when we get to September and October, and the Bucks start to overlap with the Rays' final home games of the season. Like, just think about it: the Bucks playing at 1:00 and the Rays playing at 4:30, or flip flop the other way. People that are going to be doing the double, like across the street. Like, I'm sure from a logistical standpoint and how they differentiate where to park and all this stuff, like that stuff's going to be maybe a nightmare. But just the idea of that, it's going to be so fun.
A World Series game and a Monday Night Football game, back to back. That'd be nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm jumping right in there. Absolutely.
I was going to say too, like if the Rays return to the playoffs next year, like imagine playing playoff games in that stadium. How interesting that would be.
All right. Our good friend Evan L. Bushman, who has a lovely Rays podcast and lots of followers. There you go. So there you are, Tropicana Field. Oh, that's the new stadium that's not going to be built. What's up? What's up, partner? How are you?
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Muted or we to you?
He's got it.
Can I hear you?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
I can't hear him for some reason. Try. Nope. Hello. Give me a test.
Test 1, 2. Can you hear me?
I hear him okay.
All right, go ahead then.
All right. Well, okay. We'll just get your initial thoughts to this, Evan. When you read this news, what does it mean going forward? I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, I think this is a good move. I mean, what everybody was hoping for, would they stay in the Tampa Bay area? I mean, obviously there was a lot of thoughts about them going up north or going to Oakland, which I think was an idea too. But I think them staying, especially in Tampa, at a centralized location where you have the Bucks, you've got the Lightning not too far away. It puts them really in the hub of Tampa, and it's really almost like now a test now if it works, because if these games sell out on a consistent basis where fans are showing up, showing support, it's like, okay, maybe we need to be putting this into Tampa instead of keeping it in St. Petersburg. So I like the idea. Obviously, it's not ideal because you're sharing or you're renting out a stadium from the New York Yankees, which now the Yankees have something to hold over the head of the Rays. Now, oh hey, you have to rent out a stadium to play your games, but I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a good location. Obviously, when it gets closer to football seasons, I think it's gonna be great when football season rolls around, because now you have not only baseball going, but you also have football going. So you're going to have now a sports area where people can kind of jump around from bars to bars and watch their teams play. So I think it's a great idea.
It's a bonanza. Spalding Media Network says, do you guys think they'll add some Rays branding to the stadium to make it feel like the Rays home? It would be kind of weird to see all the Yankees paraphernalia. Yes, of course. Like when you go to a USF game at Raymond James, it's called temporary signage. They're just banners that they put over everything. It's not hard.
Listen, the Yankees just got $15 million from making this deal, so they can go further fund their Juan Soto contract. The least they can do is let the Rays put a little TV logo.
Yes,
somewhere.
they'll put it'll be all Rays stuff. It'll be completely transformed into a Rays ballpark. And if they end up playing there for 3 years while they build a new stadium in Tampa, then it'll be even more so. So remember, this is owned by the TSA. It's leased to the Yankees, and the Yankees, and I was told from the very beginning that Hal Steinbrenner was all for it, whatever the Rays needed to help them out in this terrible situation. Obviously, the Steinbrenner family has lived in Tampa forever.
And it's advantageous to the Yankees too when they play how many road games, 10, 12 road games a year down here. Yeah, exactly.
So the Yankees will be in familiar confines, although the Rays will probably take the Yankees clip out. But they've got to build it all out anyway. And there's plenty, they have the practice fields right there, which is fantastic for the teams to be able to work out. So there's a lot of pluses to this that wouldn't exist at other places.
Yeah, plus you don't have to uproot all the players and their families about going somewhere else. I mean, everybody stays localized. You don't have to spend money on traveling and whatnot. So yeah, it's a great idea. I'm excited to when it happens. It's gonna be fun to watch baseball out in the sun I mean,
Yes.
well, especially with I'm sure they're going to have a lot of 6 p.m., 7 p.m. starts, which is going to be good. Not especially in the summer months, the heat is going to be unbearable. But
I'd like to see him push it to 7:30. To be
I'm
honest
cool
with
with
you,
that. The thing is now is, and I tweeted this out earlier, is okay. You guys got your wish. There is Tampa Bay Rays baseball in Tampa Bay now. You can't complain about start times. You can't complain about the Howard Franklin. You can't complain about not being able to show up to the games. This is the ball's in the fans' court. You guys now have to show up because this is what you wanted. Now you have to go to games. There's no more complaints about this anymore. You have to show up now and support the team.
they've been showing up at Tropicana Field. 80% of the people that go to Tropicana Field are from Hillsborough County anyway. So now that 80% of 16,000 is what, 13,000, which is about your capacity at Steinbrenner Field. Just do the math, and they don't have to drive as far.
Yeah.
It's going to be packed, bro. Yeah.
I'm
How quickly do you when they what do they offer up? 15,000 season tickets? You know how fast those things are going to go.
They're going to be scooped up just like that, and most of them will probably be Yankees fans that are secretly Rays fans too.
Maybe. It's gonna a lot of that stuff's gonna be so interesting. Like,
it's gonna be a fun, interesting year altogether because I don't think a team has been impacted by a storm like this to where they have to be uprooted and move to another stadium and play outside of their home stadium. I think it makes for a great news story. Hey, Hurricane Milton ravaged Tropicana Field. The Rays have to play in Steinbrenner Field and watch them go win the World Series next year because of displaced field.
I just think it's funny that we couldn't get baseball in the Tampa side for all this time. It's like God stepped in and said, "You're gonna play in Tampa. We're gonna see how it works." Like you said, that was my main thing. It's like, this is great, this is fun. We have this settled, but Tampa Rays fans that are on this side now, man, you better show up. You better show this, or you better show this ownership group and everybody else involved that you will support baseball on this side.
I don't even think that's an argument. To me, the best part about this is, and this is why I argued for Steinbrenner Field, if you'd have gone anywhere else, it just takes away any feeling of home for the Rays. It takes away momentum towards the new stadium if the new stadium was going to be built. I mean, imagine going to Orlando or anywhere else and then saying, "Hey, we're coming back in 3 years." Like, that's not doable. So now you're going to play in the middle of where your fan base is, the middle. And you're going to see, I believe, just an energy for this team and the energy that you're going to see in a packed house. I mean, 15,000 in a 40,000 seat stadium, which is what the Tropicana Field is when you close off the top. It just doesn't have the vibe. I mean, 15,000 in an 11,000 seat stadium where you're shoehorning people in. And guess what that brings you guys? A home field advantage. How often have we heard the players say it sucks playing for the Rays at home because most of the time it's a mausoleum, So think about the advantages: packed houses, great home energy, middle of the market, moving. Now, what does that mean? Well, it shows passion for the team, right? And what does passion tell people in, politicians in Tampa? You know what? Maybe we should spend a little bit more money. Maybe we should be a little bit more open-minded. And I just think it's so great for Rays baseball. It's so great for baseball in Tampa Bay, not just Tampa Bay. And I think it's going to be fantastic. Just, I can envision the bright sunshine, opening day, smelling the grass, packed house. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Of all the bad shit that's going on with the Rays, right? TV deals. I mean, no place to play. Got to spend $60 million to fix a building that we're going to blow up in 2 years anyway, and we're going to overextend ourselves in St. Pete and Pinellas to build a stadium that we probably don't need. It's all negativity. Even since the announcement, there's been negativity. This changes all of that. It's all positive. It's all moving in the right direction together. Now, there'll be some, people that have vested interest, Mayor Welch and county commissioners, that are like, so this sucks for us. It does. I get that. But for the majority of Rays fans, this is a huge win.
Yeah, I think for the politicians too, it's like, well, look, it's either here or they're going to go somewhere else that's going to be outside of Florida or wherever. So I think this is great too. I also look at this as it makes the Rays a more attractive team to maybe play for, especially for free agents, maybe to find a team like, hey, we've got a stadium packed full of Rays fans that are showing up finally and supporting their team. It makes free agents go, okay, you know what? maybe I kind of do want to come down to Tampa. Maybe I kind of maybe want to do play for the Rays for the right price. Obviously, with our owner who likes to maybe skim on the top for when it comes to attracting free agents money wise, but it also gives free agents say, hey, this is a more of an attractive spot to come to because the fans are behind this team and they're going to show it when they come to Steinbrenner Field. And as much as I hate the Yankees, I think their fan base they're a bunch of morons and dummies. I'm not even mad about the fact that we are renting Steinbrenner Field from the Yankees.
I don't think about that one bit. Like it's again, the Yankees don't own it.
I think
Tampa owns it.
I thank them for this.
Yeah, we thank them. Thank you.
Hey, I'm renting your house for a year or two.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
I don't even think that plays into it all, but I get it. Home Runs Matter, which is homerun.com, nohomerun.com. Folks said, hey, JP, watch as Pinellas County's commission's working group discussed this morning delaying the bond vote to December, just before this announcement. They say the Rays had been radio silent making this decision without one of their investors. Not a good look. Yeah, it was real weird that the Rays weren't saying, Stu hasn't said anything since the roof blew off. They've had very, short statements, but nothing, no press conferences, no nothing. I get it because they just were in such limbo, but there was never any, hey, we're not going anywhere. Don't worry, fans. We're going to figure this out. Whatever's best for Rays fans is what we're going to do. There was none of that. None of that. Leadership when you needed it most from ownership was completely vapid. Nothing there.
Yeah, but I think that's been their MO the whole time, though, JP. And I think what they were doing was kind of, hey,
very on brand, yes.
We need to assess the situation before we go out and say some things that maybe are going to be taken back a couple weeks later. So I think they were just there evaluating the situation about, hey, are we going to be able to play in the Trop next year, or are we going to have to start the motions of playing somewhere else? And I think that's what they were doing the whole time. I'm glad that they picked this field. I mean, if they went to Clearwater to where the Phillies played or Dunedin to where the Blue Jays spring
logistical nightmares.
Yeah, it's a logistical nightmare. And plus, if you go to Dunedin, you're not going to get a large crowd like they would at Steinbrenner Field. And I mean, where the Phillies play out in Clearwater, it's a good location, but you're not going to get the same impact as they would playing at Steinbrenner in the heart of Tampa Bay. And
it's much, it's 3,000 to 4,000 less seats too. I mean, that's an economic disqualification right there. Yep. This is what's best for the Rays as a franchise. It's what's best for their and frankly, again, I think the Rays probably wanted to go to Clearwater to have the best option to continue the boondoggle stadium deal. But I think Major League Baseball said, no, we're not doing that. It's going to be a nightmare. We're going to do it in Tampa. I don't know that for a fact. That's just my opinion. But in the end, the right decision was made. The right decision was made.
Totally agree. I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
All right, partner. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Right, we'll talk more. Any other reaction you got on Twitter?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of people that I'm trying to go through some people who are very connected and in the know with.
What did my friend Zach Blobner say? I'll go.
Let me bring.
We love Zach.
Let me bring his Twitter back up here.
Mm-hmm. So on Mark Topkins' Twitter, obviously, who broke the story, the Tampa Bay Times. Let me see. People are saying we're going to lose the new stadium deal, aren't we? Yeah, I think that's probably going to happen.
I guess we have to look at this. If this stadium deal falls through, I know that you believe, and Hagan says there's maybe a deal still to be done on the Tampa side. There still has to be some general concern that if this stadium deal falls through, and when the lease is up completely, that the Rays. I mean, I don't think that's still off the table. I hate to say that in this moment, but I don't.
No, it's no guarantee.
It's
obviously.
no guarantee.
No.
It's still no guarantee that the Rays, unfortunately, are going to still be playing in the Tampa Bay region.
Hard Rock World.
Oh, no. It's still all has to be answered, and I think I've been trying to read some of the.
Here's a quote from Hal Steinbrenner, owner of the Yankees, longtime Tampa resident, Davis Island. So we are happy to extend our hand to the Rays and their fans by providing a major league quality facility for them to utilize this season. Both the Yankees organization and my family have deep roots in the Tampa Bay region, and we understand how meaningful it is for the Rays players, employees, and fans to have their 2025 home games take place within 30 minutes of Tropicana Field. In times like these, rivalry and competition take a backseat to doing what's right for our community, which is continuing to help families and businesses rebound from the devastation caused by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. This is almost verbatim what I've been talking about for 2 weeks when people said the Yankees will never let that happen. Because I actually put this to the Steinbrenner family when the old man was alive about paying a couple of series there just to get the Tampa fans engaged. And he was like, if it's good for Tampa, it's good for me. And we put our blessing on it. So I knew Hal would be open to this as well because of their deep roots in Tampa Bay. It was a no-brainer. And of course, it's exactly what I would expect from the Steinbrenner family.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
I think the best bet here, if you're still holding out hope, that you think a Tampa stadium can be realistic, the part with the Bucks is always going to play a role in what the Bucks need. And listen, the Bucks got to come first. For full stop, the Bucks got to come first.
That's true. 100%.
End of the day,
100%.
Whatever tax money is out there available, whatever city money is available out there, you have to pump that into the Bucks. You have to look in the grand scheme of things before you even think about the Rays. So where does that leave money from the city side to go towards the Rays Stadium? I genuinely don't know the answers to those questions. I don't think many people do know the answers to those questions. I know that the best shot, I think, is Rays fans packing out Steinbrenner Field this year, showing people that it's a viable place for baseball, and doing their part, and potentially maybe somebody else investing into the franchise and them having a willingness to put it somewhere in Tampa. I don't know where. I don't know when. Don't have those answers. But maybe that incentivizes somebody to step in. Maybe Stu Sternberg sells the team to them and they put more of their own money up rather than relying on the city to do that. Because in general, isn't that what we kind of want? We want to get away from cities having to pay for these stadiums and taxpayers to have to pay for these stadiums. Primarily, you'd want the owner to step up and front more of the bill, no?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the owner, whoever owns the team, we've seen this in other places. We were talking about this on the show yesterday with IndyCar Tim, who with our affiliate in Dallas, and how they funded the stadiums. They were basically 50-50 with the city, exactly what Hillsborough proposed in 2018, that Stu did not want to pay half. Even though he would have had naming rights, would have probably given him almost most of the money he had to pay. He was always looking for a deal where he didn't have to pay anything, and he found it basically in St. Pete through the entire deal. So, yeah, I think it's going to have to be a public-private partnership like every other stadium that's built, and these stadiums aren't hard to do when you have willing owners. And the reason that the A's and the Rays are going to be playing in minor league ballparks this year is because both of their owners are terrible owners when it comes to partnering with the community. I mean, Fisher's going to go spend $1 billion in Vegas. If he'd put that money up in Oakland, they'd have had a brand new stadium there. I mean, that's crazy. And Stu has never bargained in good faith with the people of Hillsborough County. That's what I've been told of those negotiations, and it's clear that's what's happened. And now they have to do it again. And I hope that Major League Baseball is the key to this. Major League Baseball knows that they have to be in Tampa Bay. They're not leaving this market. But they also know that it's been really hard for Stu to get a deal. And I think Stu has been the problem. We can get, like I said, they built 2 stadiums in Arlington because they've had willing owners. The Braves did it because they had willing owners. Every new stadium that's been built, they've had willing owners that partnered with the community. That's what we're missing. And if Stu can step up and do this, it's very, very doable. Very doable. Look, this is the 11th largest market. There is tons of money to be made in baseball here. And if you put a stadium where there's 1.4 million people within a 30-minute drive instead of 600,000, you're going to get double the attendance just by demographics. It's a no-brainer, not guaranteed double. I shouldn't say that, but your attendance is going to increase exponentially. And if you put it closer to where the growth is, obviously Tampa and not west of Tampa, which is water, then you're going to get bigger growth in the next 30 years. It's a no-brainer. And I think it's a godsend that they're going to get this reprieve and be able to get out of this bad deal and get into a good one that will keep the Rays here for generations to come. I hope that happens.
Yeah.
But in the near term, I think this is the most positive thing that can happen.
In the near term, it's great. In the long term, we have to acknowledge there could be very serious consequences.
Sure, they could leave.
That's essentially why this is so interesting to me. The Rays are taking this risk. Maybe they're trying to call Pinellas's bluff out on this whole thing of what they keep saying out into the public of what they're going to vote and all this stuff, and that's going to keep getting pushed back. I think we're going to continue to see stories of, oh, the vote's getting pushed. It's getting pushed because realistically, the stadium itself, even if it goes up, we've now 2028 is probably not even an option. 2029 is probably closer to where.
Oh yeah, they've already said that.
Yeah,
they've already said that because it's going to take a year to repair Tropicana Field.
So to sum it up, probably it's great in the short term. I have this newfound excitement for the season to get here now. Where I think after last year, we all had a bad taste in our mouth about everything. I have this newfound excitement. That's all great. The long-term consequences of this decision, that's what they are. The consequences are very bad. And the worst thing that could happen here is the stadium vote gets shot down. The bonds,
and the Rays leave the market. Like we have to be transparent about that. We can have our opinions about, can this open up Tampa? We realistically don't know if that's an option. The worst thing that could happen by result of this is the Rays leave the market forever. And that we have to keep that in mind. Yeah, it's a possibility. No question about it. Although Major League Baseball has said they're not leaving the market. I don't think this deal is the last deal that can be done. So we'll see. All right. Thank you for joining us for the special edition of the JP Peterson Show. We'll be back tomorrow live, 10 to 12. We're going to try to have Ken Hagan on and as many politicians as we can get to weigh in on this situation. Where do we go from here? Love to you guys to keep to like and subscribe, obviously, to the JP Peterson Show. At JP Peterson Show is our Twitter account and Instagram account, so check that out as well. I think it's a great day in Tampa Bay. It's a great day for Rays baseball. It's a great day for Tampa Bay fans, and this is the best possible outcome. And I'm looking forward to being there on opening day in the beautiful, bright sunshine on an April day as the Rays take on the Yankees in Steinbrenner Field. I guess the schedule's already out, though. And I'm not sure who we're playing on opening day, but it's going to be marvelous, and I cannot wait. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow live, 10 to 12.